one of the things that I use when doing the information technology projects that I work on is a template called the total cost of ownership. Mm. And what this is, we call it a TCO document. And it's a very handy tool. And what it does is it helps serve as a checklist to begin with of all the things that you need to think about when you're getting to this kind of stage in project management of cost estimating and procurement. And so what it looks at is certain things like hardware and software. So you can start to ask questions. I'll give you an example. We worked on a project that was called Network Visibility and Data Aggregation. It was a networking project. Basically what it was, it gave our security team the capability to analyze raw data coming over the network. In the event that there was some type of malicious activity going on, it gives them that extra layer of analytics and forensics into the network data so that they can help to address that malicious activity appropriately. So we scoped out that effort, we scoped out the requirements, and then really early in the process we looked at the total cost of ownership. We started asking questions like, well, what type of capital is needed here? What type of hardware are we going to need? What type of software are we going to need? From a people perspective, who is going to be the operational team to support the environment once it's implemented? Who's going to be the team that's going to be the main administrative users? Do we have those folks available today? Who are going to be the folks that are going to be on the implementation team that's actually building and testing and deploying this? So we have to look at, do we have those resources internally? And even if we do, it's always good to even try to get maybe a rate of that particular role and try to bring, even if they're a full-time employee, and bring that into your cost estimation as well. So in this particular example, it was in today's, of course, technical environment, a lot of things are cloud-based. So they're hosted and serviced elsewhere. They're not on your physical environment. In your local data center, in ASU, we have a few of them here. Sometimes things are kind of what they call these as-a-service types of services, where you pay them a fee, you pay them a license, a monthly subscription, and they have the hardware capability, they have the software capability, they have the support capability. That's all off-site, and you just pay them a subscription basically for that service. A good example of something like that would be our Workday financial management system, our Salesforce customer relationship management system. Those are big systems that are utilized here at ASU. They're software as a service. We pay a licensing fee, and they manage that off-site. This particular project was different than that. This was one that is 100% on-site. It's dealing with our local network. Our local network is, of course, the infrastructure that allows for things like Wi-Fi and computing here at ASU. So we had to look. We really got a lot of value out of the total cost of ownership type of estimating tool. So we look there and we see, okay, what type of equipment are we going to need in regards to like storage, in compute power, in networking. What is this network visibility appliance going to cost us? And so you start to add those things into your estimation spreadsheet. Okay, here's the hardware we're going to need. Here's the network cabling we're going to need. Here's the storage requirements we're going to need. Then you say, okay, how are we going to install this initially? Do we have the expertise in-house? Well, no, we don't have that. So we need to build that cost in. Now we need to bring in expertise. Is that something that's included or not? In the estimation process, so let me back up a second. I think this is where, based upon, this is that one of those it depends types of scenarios. So based upon the type of project you have, cost and estimating and procurement may kind of interweave in a way. So you might say, well, we haven't done something like this in the past. So we really even can't give it a ballpark of what it's going to cost. So we'd like to actually go out and ask for kind of an estimate from our resellers to say, what is it going to cost for this equipment? And then you can build that into your cost estimation to be able to present that to leadership to get budget approval. So we went out and did that. We said, this is what we want to do. Here's what it's going to cost for the appliances. No, we're not going to have someone, the resources included with the appliance to do the installation, or all of it, maybe just a portion of it. So we're going to need additional resources that we're going to need to define, and we have to go out and get. Okay, so now you look at your total costs of operations, and you say, okay, we're going to need additional people for the implementation process. How long is it going to take for them to be involved in order to fully implement this? What's their rate, their hourly rate of labor? Let's put that in there. You have to look at what type of training is involved. Is training included, or is that separate? Are there going to be a lot of users here? What's the user experience going to be like? Are we talking about thousands of people that are going to need to get onboarded onto this, or is it just a few handful of people? In this case, it was just a few people, and training was basically included, and we had that included in there. So those are the types of things that you have to look at. What's the capital expense? Oh, is there software? Is it a one-time expense? For example, with a lot of software, you have to look at that. Is it a one-time perpetual type of license? You buy it, and then you're responsible for upgrading it. Or is it like the cloud or subscription-based item where you say, okay, here's our initial fee, and then we're going to have to pay this annually on on an annual basis, and make sure that you estimate that as well, so that people realize that are responsible realize that, yeah, there's going to be an uptick in your annual maintenance costs because you're now introducing a new piece of software into your environment as well. So those are the types of things you need to look at when you're getting started. You need to look at things from all angles. What type of capital is needed? What type of subscription-based software is required? What type of labor are you going to need for implementation? What type of labor are you going to need to operate and maintain the environment? And what type of labor are you going to need to actually administer to the environment as well? Do you need training? Those types of things. So as much as you possibly can gather early on, you want to bring in, you want to think about all those things. It's nice to have a checklist so that you make sure that all of the different items that could possibly have an impact on this effort are thought about. And then you bring that estimation forth for budget approval. And then once you have that budget approval, then you're much better equipped to then enter into the procurement process. And what that shows the folks, the stakeholders that are involved, is that you've put rigor into this. It's very well thought out. The team did their analysis appropriately. They've looked at different ways of solving the problem. Here's the team's best effort at being able to do this to meet the requirements in the most efficient means possible and the lowest cost possible. So then, at that point, then you would enter into the procurement process.